So even though everyone has a pretty bad economy, it's evened out at this point. You've spent by far the most amount of money because you've had the best economy all game, but you spent a lot of it on tech that other people didn't spend on tech, and that's because you're doing something which I really dislike, which is overproducing your production infrastructure as if you have like a gold base about to go down or something. One base can support 3 buildings, 4 if you've stopped SCV production, and 2 bases can support 6. But there's an exception. Reactored starports, they count as 2 buildings because just the way that it works, man. Medevacs and Vikings are so expensive that if you double produce them, then that's how it goes. The same thing with reactored factories, because 2 Hellions is $200 every 30 seconds. Like, compare that to a reactored marine thing. Marines are also basically 30 seconds, and it's $100. So a factory with a reactor making Hellions spends twice as much money as a Rax. So if we look at medevacs, it takes 42, so that's basically twice as long as a Marine. So a reactored Marines is 100 every 200 every 2 cycles, but 2 medevacs is 400 every 2 cycles. So as you can see, reactored high-tech buildings spend twice as much money per cycle as low-tech buildings or tech-labbed buildings. And when I say tech-labbed buildings, think of a Banshee, for example. It takes 1 minute and it costs $250. Whereas with medevacs, you would have been able to spend $500 by then. So twice as much. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? So basically, this is one production facility, this is one production facility, this is half a production facility, this is half a production facility. So this, and these 4 things together is actually 3 buildings. This is 1 building, this is half a building, and this is 2 buildings. So you have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.5 buildings on 2 bases, which is actually, it's an appropriate amount. Actually, that's not terrible. The problem is that for a lot less money, instead of having 2 racks with no thing, you could have just built a reactor, and instead of having 1 starport with nothing on it, you could have built a tech lab or a reactor or whatever. So what I'm saying is you have more production facilities than you can afford to produce out of. And this is especially true because you don't have any freaking workers. You have 27 workers on 2 bases. So even though it's as if you have 2 bases means 2 command centers and 60 workers. You have half that, so you have 1 base. So having 6 production facilities is double overkill. You've got twice as many production facilities as you can afford to spend out of. And maybe you expect to quickly grow to 60 workers, but I don't know. I don't think that's the case. So this battle, I don't really think there's a lot I can tell you about battles. Battles are so obvious. Everyone watches battles closely, and everyone pretty much understands what's going on in battles. What I can say is that this was obviously a terrible battle, and it went terribly for you guys. But a lot of the time, what it comes down to isn't positioning or composition, even though those are the 2 things you have the most direct control over. It's just money. If you look... oh, they don't have that Control A thing here. Anyway, if you look, you guys have all this stuff not participating in the battle, and this is called Defender's Advantage, right? Defender's Advantage means it takes you guys a long time to walk there, and you guys leave a lot of stuff back home. Oh, actually, these aren't your things. Oh, damn it. Anyway, point is, you guys had almost as much stuff not in the battle as you had in the battle. Maybe about half as much stuff not in the battle as you had in the battle. Also, your force is made up almost entirely of Marines. And Marines are terrible against tanks and quite bad against Thors. And you're going up against a primarily Thor tank composition with a couple of Marines and Marauders to absorb the damage. And a planetary fortress. So there's just no way that this composition stands a chance. And if you take that information and then you say your combined army size is 6,500 and their combined army size is 7,000, but they have all of their army in play, whereas you guys only have half of your army in play, or maybe 2/3 of your army in play, that means that they've got about a 30% just pure size advantage of their army size. So luckily for you, they didn't siege their tanks. I don't know why they would have unsieged tanks just sitting here. It's pretty stupid. But once they finally do siege, their tanks just splat all over the place. Planetary Fortress is also AoE. AoE is the counter to Marines. Marines just get dominated by AoE because they have this little tiny unit size. And the smaller your unit size, the closer together your units stand, and the more AoE affects you. So this battle, I think, pretty obviously went terribly for you guys. You didn't kill any of the tanks, even though they were unsieged and unprotected and low health. You didn't really kill anything. You just kind of tried to walk up here, and never do that against a Planetary Fortress, because Planetary Fortresses hurt a lot, and they splash, and they're just scary. If you're going to kill a Planetary Fortress, it needs to be completely undefended. You stim, walk in, and kill it instantly, and then walk away. And if it lasts a long time, you're just going to lose way too much for it to be worth your bother. Also, this is essentially their only mining base, and they're sitting here defending it. If you take this base and you put a siege tank here, they can't walk out this way, and they can't walk out this way. I mean, I suppose they can get right over here and just skirt the side, but there's nowhere for them to go except for this other base. Like, there's no second path. They have to walk by here. So when I play on this map, and I don't very often play on this map because I hate this freaking map, but when you do play on this map, your goal should be to get a Planetary Fortress right here, a siege tank here, and a siege tank here, and just bunker around this area. And then they can't get by over here, and they can't get by over here, so their only path to you is an air path, and then you just kind of win. But that's map-specific information, and I don't like worrying too much about map-specific crap. So now they're running into the same defender's advantage as you ran into. This is not their whole army. Look at how much stuff they left back home. That's a ton of stuff. And 2 Thors? 2 Thors by themselves is $1,000. It's like a ridiculous amount of stuff that they left back home. So they're taking a tiny fraction of their army and they're attacking you with it. And when you're defending, you defend with everything. That's the rule. Like, right? Oh no, I'm being attacked. I'm going to take everything and go defend. So it was just stupid of them to attack with this small fraction of their force, just like it was stupid of you guys to attack with a small fraction of your force earlier. So they're making the mistake of trying to focus down the Planetary Fortress and sacrificing their entire army in order to not kill anything. I don't know if I even need to tell you, but that's obviously a big mistake because it can be repaired. So they basically didn't kill anything and gave up a third of their army. That was stupid. This game is just a litany of things that were stupid on one side's part or another. I don't know how much more can be said about that. So in TT versus TT, one thing you should know about Terran is that Battlecruiser Viking has basically no counter except for more Vikings. So late game TT versus TT, your goal should be to get an army of battlecruisers and Vikings. So in the early game, you can't obviously start off with battlecruisers and Vikings. You have to do this M&M and tank and stuff. But your first goal should be to get here with a Planetary Fortress and some tanks so that they can't attack across the ground. And then they're going to know they can't attack across the ground, and they're going to start to do air things, the medevacs and banshees. So back home, you have to make some Vikings to defend against medevacs and banshees. Then you take the opportunity that having to make some Vikings gives you, and you make a fusion core and start making some battlecruisers and Vikings. And you know, keep reinforcing with tanks and bunkers and make battlecruisers and Vikings, and eventually you have enough battlecruisers and Vikings to just come over and deny them any bases. Let them have these 3. These 3 are easy to get and easy to hold, and you don't want to ever attack them on these 3. You guys, both teams keep making this mistake of attacking each other. Don't attack there's no need